How's it going, everyone? This week we have a really great lineup for you. First up, we're going to discuss the matches we like and don't like. First, the Packers versus the Eagles. The Packers have five legit receiving options, and the Eagles' secondary last year was just terrible, and they did very little to improve it. Same game, I dislike the Eagles versus the Packers. Why is that? The Eagles do have top tier wide receiver talent, but the Packers have two top 10 corners when healthy, and they added top five safety. So look for the Eagles to underperform.
A matchup I think is going to be very interesting this week is the Tennessee Titans at the Chicago Bears. I think it'll be very interesting to see how Will Levis performs against a Bears defense that I think should be one of the best units in the league. Will that new revamped Titans offense be able to produce guys that are fantasy relevant like Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley, Ty J. Spears? Will those guys step up? It'll be interesting to be on the lookout for that and kind of the clues that we get in week one. Also, on the flip side, it'll be cool to see how Caleb Williams performs in his first ever game. A matchup I don't like this week is Brandon Ayuk versus the New York Jets. If he has to face off versus Sauce Gardner a lot, I think it could be a tough week one for Brandon Ayuk. He hasn't had to practice much this offseason as he's been holding out for a new contract. I think he's a great player, but I do not love this matchup this week. Obviously, if you have him in fantasy, you still have to start him because you don't sit your studs. But don't love the matchup, not a dream spot for him by any means.
Looking at the week one, we're looking at matchups we like and we do not like. And a matchup I really like is a game against the Indianapolis Colts and the Houston Texans. I think this is going to be a shootout, a lot of fantasy points to spread around. Both teams have explosive players, so I'm looking for that one to be plentiful. Matchups I don't like, or a matchup I don't like, I should say, is Russell Wilson versus Atlanta. I know Russell, he's got the career, he's got the pedigree, that is all in the past. He is going up against a top 10 Atlanta defense, and I think Russell Wilson owners are soon gonna see that he is not a productive fantasy player anymore. I wouldn't even have him on my team. I'd get rid of him, and I do not expect him to have a good week, let alone season.
One NFL matchup I really like this week is the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Baltimore Ravens on Thursday night. And these are the best two teams in the AFC on paper. And I'm especially excited to see how the powerful running style of Derrick Henry meshes into a Baltimore Ravens offense that features speed at every position. And for the Chiefs, I'm really excited to see how rookie wideout Xavier Worthy looks in a revamped Chiefs offense. And I like Mahomes' team to beat Lamar's by a field goal in a very high scoring matchup. Matchup I don't like is the NFL's highest paid wide receiver against the Cleveland Browns secondary this week. CeeDee Lamb held out for most of the offseason and has to face off against the Browns defense that features possibly the best cornerback room in all of the NFL with Denzel Ward, Martin Emerson, and Greg Newsome. I don't think CeeDee will necessarily have a bad game, but I do like the Browns to keep him under 80 yards and out of the end zone.
Next, we have things for you to look out on this week's NFL games. For me, I'm going to talk about the Packers. You need to see how their pass catchers shake out. Look for the target share from Jordan Love for both the wide receiver and tight ends. Remember, both the tight ends also came on strong at different points of the year, so look for that. Also, look at the offensive snap percentage when they're on the field to have an idea if they are considered one of the top options for this high powered Green Bay offense.
In fantasy football this week, I'm paying the most attention to the matchups of players who had long holdouts coming into the season. The main guys I'm keeping an eye on are CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Ayuk, and Jamar Chase. If these guys get off to slow starts, it might be worth trying to buy them low and pull some trades off early on in the season. I could definitely see CeeDee Lamb or Brandon Ayuk stumbling out of the gates. And if Jamar Chase is even playing, we don't know yet. So keep an eye on those guys. Another theme I'm interested in watching this week is how rookie quarterbacks Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels perform. I expect both to play well in their debut games, and I think Daniels could lead the Commanders to an upset over the Buccaneers. I think Williams and the favored Bears have a good chance to outlast the Titans this week as well. So those will be interesting themes to watch, and they can definitely help you win your leagues later on in the season.
Something I'm looking out for this week in the NFL season, not just for fantasy, but for just overall performance, is how Josh Allen is going to handle not having Stephon Diggs or Gabe Davis anymore. I'm going to be a little optimistic. I think he'll be fine. They brought in veteran Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakur. He is back for his third season. Dalton Kincaid back for his second season, and they drafted with their second round pick Keon Coleman. So I expect him to be just fine. But it is interesting and something to keep an eye on.
This week in fantasy football, I'll be keeping a close eye on how the Houston Texans spread the ball around to their plethora of weapons. Second year quarterback CJ Stroud has a lot of mouths to feed in Houston since his team added Stephon Diggs in the offseason. And it will be interesting to see if Diggs commands the ball more than the Texans' promising young stars at receiver like Nico Collins and Tank Dell. Dalton Schultz is also in the mix for targets at tight end, and the addition of Joe Mixon at running back may also lead to more rushing attempts near the goal line, and that could reduce Stroud's passing touchdowns from a year ago. I really like the Texans' offense and think they will score a lot of points this year, but it's anyone's guess who will be receiving the lion's share of the targets and touchdowns in Houston.
Excuse me, sir. Would you like another hot take?
Yeah, definitely. Keep them coming.
Okay, for this week's hot takes, we're all going to tell you how we think the divisions will shake out for the NFC and AFC divisions. So let's go ahead and get into it. And yes, some of these are going to be chalk. So first up, the AFC East, I have the New York Jets. Next, with the AFC North, the Baltimore Ravens. I think tough division, but they're still the cream of the crop. The AFC South, it's the Houston Texans. All right. I know that's a little bit of just rolling with chalk, but same with the West, Kansas City Chiefs. Let's try to shake it up a little in the NFC. Now, in the NFC East, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. I do think that they're the best team in the division, and they'll figure out why they slipped last year. Next, in the NFC North, the Detroit Lions. Yes, that hurts my soul, but I do think that they are the better overall team. In the NFC South, the Atlanta Falcons. I think Kirk Cousins makes all the difference. And finally, in the NFC West, I have the LA Rams, not the 49ers.
My division winners for the NFL football season, starting with the AFC East, Miami Dolphins. Yeah, the Jets have a great defense, and the Bills are good, and they should challenge, but Miami gets it done. Over to the AFC North, another tough division, but Baltimore Ravens are going to be taking this one. They do it again, ladies and gentlemen. In the AFC South, I'm taking Jacksonville Jaguars. I know Indy and I know that Houston are both very talented, but Jacksonville Jaguars are going to bounce back. Watch out for Trevor Lawrence. AFC West, Kansas City Chiefs. Who else are you going to take from there? The Chargers? Nah, no thank you. Moving over to the NFC East. Sorry, Cowboy fans. Philadelphia Eagles are taking it this year with the NFC North Green Bay Packers. I have getting that one. Bears and Lions make a late push. Packers outlast. NFC South, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know Atlanta looks good and they're the favorites, but I'm rolling with Tampa. And the NFC West, the cream of the crop, the San Francisco 49ers.
Starting off in the AFC East for the division winner, I like the Miami Dolphins. They have the best offense in the division by far, and their defense could take a step forward this season if they can just stay healthy. Watch out for the Jets as well. In the AFC South, I like the Indianapolis Colts this year. They should have an elite offense, and they might be able to knock off the Texans. In the AFC North, I have the Baltimore Ravens. I think they're going to win the Super Bowl this season. They have great coaching, defense, and quarterback play. They're the most balanced team in the league right now, in my opinion. In the AFC West, I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs. They're the heavy favorite for a reason, and I think the Chargers and Broncos are still a year or two away from truly competing. In the NFC East, I have the Eagles. They made some nice moves this offseason and have a well-rounded team. I like the Commanders to make some noise and grab a wild card spot as well. In the NFC South, give me the Falcons. This is one of the weakest divisions in football, and I think Kirk Cousins will take the Falcons to another level. In the NFC North, give me the Chicago Bears. They have an elite defense and a retooled offense led by the super prospect Caleb Williams. I think things will click for them right away, and they can surpass the Packers and Lions. In the NFC West, I'll take the LA Rams. Stafford was playing his best ball at the end of last season, and although they're not as talented as the Niners on paper, there was a lot of drama in San Francisco this offseason, and I think they might have a letdown after losing the Super Bowl again.
In the AFC, I think the Chiefs are my only prediction that I'm 100% confident in, as the Dolphins will have to get past the Bills and the Jets, and then the Texans will have to get past the Colts, who could be a real challenger for the South Crown if Anthony Richardson can stay healthy and live up to the hype in year two. The AFC North is the best division in football, and I expect all four of the teams to compete within the division for the crown. But I like the Ravens due to their ability to run the ball with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, and I have to imagine that duo is going to be giving teams fits all season long. In the NFC, I'm more confident in my picks as I like the Eagles, Packers, and 49ers to win their divisions with relative ease. Although the Lions could give the Packers a run for their money in the North, but I think that Jordan Love will be very effective as he has a ton of good young receivers to throw the ball to, and Josh Jacobs gives them a nice running back to control the ball in cold weather games late in the season.
Hey everyone, it's Stacey. My hot take this week is I don't understand why the NFL does not do a mini bye week on either side of the Thursday night games. Give them the Sunday before off as well as the Sunday after. They have a week and a half on either side. You get better football. You can play the same amount of games, extend the season one extra week. And the players seem to hate Thursday night football games, but as fans, we love it. So give the NFL what they want with their Thursday night games, give players what they want with a little bit more rest, give fans some better football to watch. I feel like this is an all around win for everyone. Let me know what you think in the comments. Have a great day.
This was a poker hand I played at Shovel 512 in Austin, Texas. In this hand, the middle position player opened to 15, and I defended in the straddle with 8-5 offsuit. Versus this sizing in a live poker game, I'm basically going to be defending any two cards. Obviously, I don't have a good starting hand, but it's good to give action in loose games, so I make the call, and we go to the dream flop, which comes 4, 6, 7 with two hearts. We flop the nuts. I check, and he takes a very small sizing of $10. I can have a lot of bluffs here with just a stiff 5x type of hand here. I can have flush draws, so I also need to be fast playing my value as well. I check raise right away to $50, and I think I should be going even bigger here, like $65 or $70, but I make it 50 and he calls. The turn comes the king of spades, and I'm thinking about how can I get all the money in here versus the strongest part of his range. So I slightly overbet the pot to 160, and now he just jams all in for 425 total. I make the snap call, and the river comes a jack, and we hold versus a flopped set of sixes. This was a poker hand I played in a tournament at the new TCH Social in Austin, Texas. In this hand, we were getting close to the money bubble, and I had slightly less than 30 big blinds. Blind levels were at 1,500, 3,000 with a 3,000 big blind ante. Action folded to the cutoff, who made it $7,500. And I wake up in the small blind now with black pocket aces. What a dream spot. Here I make it 30,000, which in hindsight I think is too big. Since we are so shallow, I should probably be going with a smaller sizing to keep in some of his weaker hands. Versus this sizing, he's probably going to play a lot better than if I go small. Action folds back to him and he jams all in. Obviously I make the call and he has pocket queens. So we are in very good shape here. The flop comes Jack 7-6, so we're safe for now. The turn comes another Jack, and don't do it to me. The river comes a Queen, and we are busted out of the tournament. It would have been nice to win this hand, but I guess this wasn't our series. I do have to say the new TCH Social in Austin was an incredible card room, great atmosphere, a lot of nice players, and a huge congratulations to them on a successful opening weekend.
Okay, let's get into a few poker hands. These are all from Las Vegas at Mandalay Bay. First up, we're playing 1-2 again at Mandalay Bay. Limps me in the big blind, and I have pocket eights. So I race to 13. Get two callers. Now the hijack goes all in for $83. Folds to me, and I think at worst I'm against two overs. So I debate, but I do make the call, and the rest of the field folds. The flop comes the five of clubs, the five of hearts, and the 10 of hearts. On to the turn. The turn is a five of spades, so we have a boat, and the river is a jack of clubs, which I didn't like. I show my full house, and they show that they had pocket twos, so we scoop with the bigger full house. Okay, still playing 1-2 at Mandalay Bay. This time it limps the cutoff, who raises $13. I'm on the button and I look down at Queen Six of Diamonds and I make the call, and so does the small blind in middle position. So we go to the flop. The flop comes the Queen of Hearts, the Queen of Spades, and the Nine of Hearts. Small blind now leads out for $30 and folds to the cutoff, who raises to 100. I debate what I should do here, but ultimately I think going all in with the Trip Queens. So I go all in for 380. The small blind and the cutoff both snap call, so I know that's not good. The turn is a four of hearts. The river is a seven of diamonds. Small blind had pocket kings, and the cutoff scoops with pocket nines for the flop boat, and they win a massive pot. I tap table and tell them, very nice hand.
Soccer hooligans.
Another added minutes, and we are recapping some things around the world of soccer, starting with Bayer Leverkusen. They almost went unbeaten last year. That's all we talked about for a little bit, was how insane of a run they were on. They actually haven't lost a league game since early last year. They didn't lose a league game at all in last season, so we're talking 2 seasons ago since their last loss, and they finally lost in the league again. Red Bull Leipzig comes back from 2-0 down to win that one 3-2, ending a 35-game unbeaten streak in the Bundesliga for Leverkusen. Elsewhere, we have La Liga action. Barcelona is a perfect 4 out of 4, and they won their fourth game in style, beating Valladolid 7-0 off the back of a Rafinha hat-trick. In the Premier League, we had Arsenal dropping points as they tied 1-1 to Brighton. City and Liverpool both stay perfect, 3 wins out of 3. City beat West Ham 3-1, and Liverpool beat Man United 3-0. I love it when Man United loses. We had a Wrexham watch going on this weekend because, hey, guess what? Wrexham, they keep on trucking. They are unbeaten after 4 games. They are 3 wins, 1 tie, 0 losses, tied for first place with Stockport, who also gained relegation last season. So it's kind of crazy to see those two teams both make the promotion, both leading the charge right now, as Wrexham beat Posh 2-0 over the weekend. We hope you guys had a great week, and we will see you next week with another edition of the Added Minutes.
Pete Crow Armstrong has been one of the hottest hitters in all of fantasy baseball over the past month. He has been the number 37 ranked player in fantasy over that time span due to his high average and run scoring ability, but his greatest value comes from his ability to steal bases. He's currently available in 50% of Yahoo leagues, and he would be a nice addition to your roster if you need help in the stolen bases category. And I think that with his ability to hit for a high average and with his ability to score runs, you might be able to compete on 3 different categories by adding him to your team. Kyle Manzardo is an intriguing prospect to add to your bench for the fantasy baseball playoffs. Manzardo was just recalled to the Guardians from AAA Columbus and immediately hit his first 2 career home runs in his first game back. Manzardo is a top 50 prospect in all of baseball and will likely see a lot of playing time in a Guardians lineup that needs more power. He has a picturesque swing that produces line drives and high exit velocities, and I think that can translate to more than a few homers and plenty of doubles down the stretch. Currently, Manzardo is owned in only 6% of Yahoo leagues, and I think he's worth picking up in deeper leagues.
Okay, everyone. One, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you haven't yet, please hit that like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Want to thank everyone we saw in Vegas that did the fantasy football draft with us, played poker with us. It was a fantastic time. All right. We'll let you know when we have more stuff scheduled here in the future. Also, if you haven't yet, please check out our online merch shop and get you some stuff. And we look forward to talking to you guys next week